Let's learn how to create an event. Once you're logged into your account, above your profile icon, click on Dashboard. When you're in Dashboard, on the left-hand side, you'll see Sections. The arrow next to the section indicates what section you're currently on. It defaults to the top section, which would be Events. If I click on Emails, the arrow will drop down to Emails. So let's go back to Events. In the top right-hand corner, there'll be a button that says New Event. Click on it. This will open 3 event types. RSVP free. This is for any event that is free and no cost. Paid event. This is an event that has a cost and will use a ticket system. And paid event external URL. This is for an event using a third party to collect registration or payments, such as Eventbrite. Today, we're going to use RSVP free. As you notice, once I clicked on that, it opens up the event that we're going to create, and there's 3 sections that we'll have to complete. The first one is general information. As we scroll down, you would just need to fill in the blanks from here. So the title, I will just put test event. Short description. The short description is what you see on social media and also what you'll see on upcoming events on the main website and when it's on your chapter. Let me show you an example. If we're at the main website and I click on events, this would be the short description listed right here. So you would just create your short description. I will just put short description for right now. The event description. This will be the main event information that you want to put. You'll definitely want to make it detailed. I highly suggest when creating the information for the event description that you also include the time here. There'll be another place that you will need to also add the time, but I suggest adding it into the event description along with the time zone. So let me just make up an event description. I like to just put the date in there, the time, and then just any information you like. I would definitely add any detailed information that you have for the event. Then we can move on. Here, you'll see other options that you can click on to choose. I think I'll choose Show Event on Chapter Page. The next section is the event banner. You can choose to make a custom event banner that is positioned at the top of your event screen. If you choose to do that, you would just upload the image here. And below, you'll also see the dimensions of the image that it needs to be and the format. If you choose not to have a banner, that's fine too. The next section is event thumbnail. The event thumbnail is this thumbnail that you'll see. You'll see it here on the events page. And then if I go back to the home page and scroll down, it will also be listed under upcoming events. If you choose to have a custom look, you can upload the image here, and then that will be used. If you choose not to, that's fine. It will just default to the JRCLS logo. And again, you can find the image size and the format of what the image needs to be. The event venue. You can choose which option you'd like, and what this does is it helps you just set it up a little differently. For this test example, I'm going to choose in person. When we scroll down, you'll then have to choose schedule and agenda. This is where you'll also put the date. So I will make mine for March 27th, like I listed, and I will also choose the time of 3 p.m. And then I will choose the end event. It will also be the 27th, and I will choose 4 p.m. So I have that. You can also just type it into this section as well. If you're not sure when your event ends, you can just guess. And then you can choose the time zone here. You also have an option to create an agenda if you choose. You would just put the date or the day, add new item, and then you could put the time and the activity that you choose to have if you choose to have an agenda. Just keep in mind that the agenda is created by time. So for instance, if I have 3 p.m. opening, then I could put a description. The next thing I'd put is the time. So this agenda is set up for the same day, but you set it up per time. And you can set up multiple dates if you would like. But for this test, I'm not going to have any agenda. The location. You can manually enter the location here, or you can search the location. I'm going to type in JRCLS, and I will choose this for my location. As you see, it will automatically input the information. You also have an option, if you'd like, to use Facebook Pixel ID that you would just add to your website. You can find more information about that by Googling or looking on YouTube. It's mostly used for Facebook ads or campaigns that you use. So we finished the first section and we're ready to move on. As you see, we'll move to the next section, sponsors and partners. So I just hit next. You can hit next at the top or at the bottom. This is where you would add any sponsors or partners you'd like to this event type. I will not be using one for right now, but if you choose, you could search for it, but if you can't find it, you can also just create it and upload your own image and just add in the information. But we'll skip that for now. Let's move to next. This is the last section that you need before you close out your event. We will click on add new RSVP. Here we'll put the title. I'm just going to name it RSVP. As you see, the ticket venue already chose in person from the first section, the general information. When I chose this was an in-person event. And then here I'll enter the quantity of tickets I want. I'm going to put 100. So when it hits 100, it will be sold out. If I choose to still want to have more room after the 100 sells out, I can click on this and choose. Maybe I'll choose another 50. So once 100 sold out, I will leave room to reserve 50 more tickets for this event. Once I'm done, I'll just publish it. If you're not ready to move forward and you don't want to publish it, you can also just save the draft and then you can return back to it. So I'm going to go ahead and click publish. This is how you know that all the information was filled out correctly and it's published. If you did not fill out all the information, it will not publish and it will throw an error. So now you've created your event. On the dashboard, where you see your chapter, you can click on this little arrow that opens up, and this will open up to your chapter page. So as I scroll down, there's my test event. It shows the short description that I created. It shows the title. It'll show the date and time. Well, it'll show the date. Let's go look for the time. I'm going to click on View Details. This will then open up the event. As you see, my event will have the title, the time, and the date. And then it will have the RSVP, and then the details I entered. If you scroll down, it will also have another part where it shows when, and it shows the day, date, and time, and also the location with access to be able to look at the map. Now, one thing I just want to keep in mind, when I mentioned to add the time inside the description, the reason I mentioned that is because the time and date that show up on the top and show up on the bottom is what you'll see in your time zone. So whatever time zone you're viewing it in, whether from whatever device you're viewing it in from that time zone, that's the time that will appear here. But leaving it in the description will also allow them to know what the actual time was that you set up in the description. And so this is how you create an event. If you decided that you want to go back and create a paid event, you would do the same thing. You would make sure that you're clicked on events. You would go choose the event type of paid event. It will open up and you do the same thing. You fill out the information. Some of it might be a little different only because it's a ticket base, but the majority of the first page is pretty the same as RSVP. There are just a couple more places I want to point out. In any of the event types, you'll see that you have underneath the title the permalink. This is the link for your event that you can use to share. Another thing I want to point out is if you chose to pick a hybrid or a virtual event, you have the option under virtual event platform to choose if you want this to be a Bevy virtual or if you choose an external URL. Bevy virtual is similar to Zoom. It has its own virtual system that it uses, which is pretty easy to navigate. And the benefit of using Bevy virtual is it keeps a lot of analytics that you can view. You still have the same control as you would with Zoom. The only difference is you won't be able to do one-off events or one-off. For example, if you want to provide a link in Zoom to have somebody just jump on and join you, you can't do that with Bevy. You actually have to set up the event, choose Bevy, and then you have the option to choose this, and it will finally create a link where you can then share. The external link is just using something like Zoom, Google Meets, just whatever platform you're using to hold your event. The other thing I want to point out is when you get to tickets on this end, it's similar to the RSVP. It's just set up a little different. You'll have the title. Here you could still choose to change the venue type if you'd like. You still get to choose the quantity. The only difference is you would add a price. And then as you see, you can still change the quantity to have a cushion after you sell out the numbers that you want here. And once you're done, you just publish it and it looks the same. So let's look at a couple events that are currently online. And the way you can do that is just by going to our website and scrolling down under upcoming events. Let's look at this first one. As you can see, they chose to not put a custom banner. And they're using the RSVP, and you can tell because it says RSVP. They've created their details and they've added their event. Let's go look at another one. The Asia Pacific event, they've chosen to use a custom banner, as you can see. And then if you scroll down, they're using the ticket event type. And you can choose to use multiple different options for the ticket. So as you see, they have a law students event. They have a law students price, a companion's price, and a lawyer's price for their event. So just remember, back in this part, you can definitely add new tickets just by clicking on that and create as many tickets as you'd like, just like they did. They also chose to put their event details. They chose to put a little banner. And the way you can add a banner to your event is if I go back to the dashboard and I go hit general information, you can drag JPEGs or any kind of, I believe it's just JPEGs or PNG formats into this little box. You just drag it from your desktop and just drop it in here. So that's how they were able to add this to their details. And as you see, they've chosen to use an agenda. And so they have a 2-day agenda that they made. Now, I spoke back about using times, so this is a great example. For the official program, they have a time where they put 5 p.m. registration, Plantation Bay Hotel, 6 p.m. theme presentation introduction. So when you're setting up the agenda, you do need to have a time in order to set it up. You can't just set it up with the title. And if you're not sure, you can always guess. And so they just added an extra day for the next agenda. So as you see, you can now create an event. And if we go back to the website, you'll also see once your event is published, it will show up here on our main website. And here are just some of the events that are being hosted. So the plan for your chapter is to hold 2 events a year. So jump online, log into your account, go to your dashboard, and start creating events. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of exit out of that. But just start creating events. As you see, every event you create, it will start posting here. One more thing I want to add before I forgot. Under the event that you created, this is that event, at the top of the page you have check-in attendees and view attendees and edit event. Whenever you're on your event that you created, you always have the option to see who RSVP'd or who bought a ticket, which ticket did they buy. And you can do that by just going to your events and hitting view attendees. Whatever event type you had, whether it's RSVP or paid, it will show you all the information along with the email address and the contact name and what they chose, whether it was ticket-based RSVP right here. The other item you have is you can choose check-in attendees. When they're actually at the event, you can also check in the attendees, and the attendees will list here, but there'll be a checkbox where you can choose to check them in, and that way you can see who was at the event. So you now have all the tools that you need to go create an event by just logging into your account and choosing dashboard. If you run into any errors, or if you run into any issues, or just need help and assistance to create an event, feel free to contact me. I'm Liza Wolfgram, Website and Communications Manager, and you can find me on the directory, or you can email me at Liza, L-Y-Z-A, .wolfgram, W-O-L-F-G-R-A-M-M, @law.byu.edu.